Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Miracle, me for short. If this is the first time seeing my beautiful face, you're welcome. So our next video is from Sowell, and it says, why do double standard Obama and the left support Hamas? Well, let's check it out.
It is not fair that a Palestinian child cannot grow up in a state of their own. It's not right to prevent Palestinians from farming their lands or restricting a student's ability to move around the West Bank or displace Palestinian families from their homes. Neither occupation nor expulsion is the answer. Just as Israelis built a state in their homeland, Palestinians have a right to be a free people in their own land. Now, only you can determine what kind of democracy you will have. But remember that as you make these decisions, you will define not simply the future of your relationship with the Palestinians, you will define the future of Israel as well. As Ariel Sharon said, I'm quoting him, "It is impossible to have a Jewish democratic state at the same time to control all of Eretz Israel. If we insist on fulfilling the dream in its entirety, we are liable to lose it all."
Hamas is a military, political, terrorist, religious organization all at the same time. And Hamas is not like an army. It has bases, just like people live between other people. They go to schools and they go to mosques, they socialize. They don't have a military outfit. They're just normal people. And you cannot imagine where the side bomber is coming from. If you ask Hamas people, what is your goal, a political goal of establishing a Palestinian state on part of the land, and will you be satisfied after that? The answer is going to be no. And if they say anything else, they are lying, because their main goal is not establishing a political or a secular state that will give people. Their main goal to establish an Islamic state. My father doesn't see himself as a terrorist, and most Muslims don't see themselves as terrorists, even using terror, making people terrified. But they think that terrorism is an accusation. It's like it makes them look like criminals. So why they don't feel that they look like criminals? Because they have a purpose and they have a higher authority that gives them the permission to do what they're doing.
What can you tell us about what motivates these people? What are they like? What are the leaders of Hamas like? What do they want?
Well, they are a religious movement. And this is what everybody is afraid to say. If Hamas was a political movement, then we can satisfy their political ambition. But Hamas is a religious movement that does not believe in political borders. You know, they want to establish an Islamic state on the rubble of the state of Israel. They want to annihilate the Jewish people and the Jewish state. They want to kill everybody who support Israel, then establish an Islamic state. But this is not the end, because their ambition is global. They want to establish eventually an Islamic state, a global state. So this is what's on their mind. And we know that we cannot satisfy their ambition. And the more power, we give them, the more aggressive they are going to be. Hence, we cannot give Hamas what they want. We cannot give them what they are asking for, whatever it takes. In war, people die, and we need to prepare public. I say that this is an ugly war. Israel did not start it, but Israel will end it.
Wow. Now I know why this is not. Now I know why all these problems have been going up. Land is not the issue here. Land can never be an issue or a reason for a war. Land, it can never be. Let's hear Tomosoro.
Since everybody seems to be criticizing Israel for its military response to the rockets being fired into their country from the Gaza Strip, let me add my criticisms as well. The Israelis traded land for peace, but they have never gotten the peace, so they should take back the land. Maybe a couple of generations of Palestinians in Gaza living in peace under Israeli occupation and a couple of generations of the occupation troops squelching the terrorists, militants for those of you who are squeamish, would set up conditions where the Palestinians would be free to vote on whether they would like to remain occupied or to have their own state, minus terrorists and their rockets. Casualty totals alone should be enough to show that the Palestinian people are the biggest losers from the current situation, where the terrorists among them, firing rockets into Israel, can bring devastating retaliatory strikes. Why don't the Palestinians vote for some representatives who would make a lasting peace with Israel? Because any such candidates would be killed by the terrorists long before Election Day, so nobody volunteers for that dangerous role. We don't know what the Palestinians really want, and won't know as long as they are ruled by Hamas, Hezbollah, and the like. Whatever the benefits of peace for the Palestinian population, what are the terrorists going to do in peacetime? Become librarians and furniture salesmen? So-called world opinion has been a largely negative factor in this situation. Nothing is easier than for people living in peace and safety in Paris or Rome to call for a ceasefire after the Israelis retaliate against people who are firing rockets into their country. The time to cease fire was before the rockets were fired. What do calls for ceasefire and negotiations do? They lower the price of launching attacks. This is true not only in the Middle East, but in other parts of the world as well. During the Vietnam War, when American clergymen were crying out, "Stop the bombing," they paid little attention to the fact that bombing pauses made it easier for North Vietnam to move more ammunition into South Vietnam to kill both South Vietnamese and Americans. After Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands, if British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher had heeded calls for a ceasefire, that would have simply lowered the price to be paid by the Argentine government for their invasion. Go back 100 years, before there was the United Nations and before world opinion was taken into account. An Argentine invasion of the Falkland Islands at that time would have risked not only a British counterattack to retake the islands, but also British attacks on Argentina itself. Anywhere in the world, attacks such as those on Israel today would not only have risked retaliation, but invasion and annihilation of the government that launched those attacks. Today, so-called world opinion not only limits the price to be paid for aggression or terrorism, it has even led to the self-indulgence of third parties talking pretty talk about limiting the response of those who are attacked to what is proportionate. By this reasoning, we should not have declared war on Japan for bombing Pearl Harbor. We should have gone over to Japan, bombed one of their harbors, and let it go at that. Does anyone imagine that this would have led to Japan's becoming as peaceful today as it has become after Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Or is the real agenda to engage in moral preening from a safe distance and at somebody else's expense? Those who think negotiations are a magic answer seem not to understand that when A wants to annihilate B, this is not an issue that can be resolved amicably around a conference table.
Guys, hi! I throw calf for Tomosoro. Like, the way Tomosoro say things, and the way the Tomosoro use life experience, like real life experience to show us as an example is just 1 in a million. Hey, gosh, I admire Thomas Sowell knowledge, his wisdom, everything. I wish I just have that. He's really, really a national treasure. No wonder. Like, guys, did you see the Sowell voice of reasoning, his common sense? He's so right in emulating the threat completely. Like, I don't like. It's just so good. The way it's just like the way he's just explaining something, breaking something in so small pieces is just so good. And guys, and it's the only measure that will stop all this fighting and pretty talks. Like, they should use the countermeasures. Thomas Sowell has useful knowledge. Yes, he has. I wish the media or other people will come to know Thomas Sowell, to come to bring Thomas Sowell to life or to the media mainstream, because he always talk the truth. He always says the truth. I just like it. I just love it for him. I just love that about him. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Like, watch, and subscribe to my channel, and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.